Okay, we're going to do the all-in-one facing. So you should have two sets of your bodice. You should have two pieces of the back and then one piece of the front cut and fold. You should also have your skirt pieces. I'm just going to use the little square for the skirt part. For your facing, you should cut the same as your front and with interfacing ironed on. So this are my back with interfacing. This is my front with interfacing. So the first thing I'm going to do is to serge all the waistline of all the pieces. After serge all the waistline on the bodice, I'm going to close the darts based on the marks. Okay, now I've closed all the darts. I'm going to press the dart towards the side seams. Find the front piece of your bodice, and I'm going to connect the shoulder seam together of the front to the back piece. So right side of the front piece to the right side of the back piece, and I'm going to connect the shoulder seam. Like this. The other side. The shoulder seam should be a continued line and armhole with armholes. Okay, I'm going to sew the shoulder seams together. So once finished, I will do the same thing for the facing. Right side of the fabric to the right side of fabric and connect at the shoulder seam. Now I've joined the shoulder seam of both the facing and the outer layer. I'm going to press the shoulder seams open. Okay, so now the shoulder seams has been pressed open. I'm going to join the necklines together of the top layer and the facing layer. So I'm going to put right side to the right side of both facing and the top layer. Start pinning at the center front. Match the shoulder seam together. I'm putting more pins in between. At the back, I'm going to leave 3 to 4 centimeters from the center back seam for the zipper. So for this one, I'm going to start sewing from here. Same thing on the other side. Match the shoulder seam. And I'm also going to stop 4 to 5 centimeters before the center back seam. So like so. I'm going to sew 2 layers together from here all the way around to here at the neckline. When you're sewing, make sure your seam length is even and go slow if necessary. found my two pieces together at the neckline, you should have opening on both ends. So the next step I'm going to do is to connect the skirt back to the back of the bodice. For your skirts, you should have the center back seam and also the waistline serge. So I'm going to pin right side to the right side at the waistline. And stop sewing at the side seam loss. So for this case, it will be 2 centimeters. You're going to sew from edge to the side seam loss. You should have your back piece look like this. And I'm going to join the center back of my skirt to the zipper notch. Make sure your waistline is matching. So once I've joined my center back to the zipper notch, I'm going to press these seam on the waistline down and also press my zipper seam loss open. Now my back piece has been ironed. I'm going to connect invisible zipper. Before you work on the invisible zipper, you should iron your zipper open, so it's gonna be easier for you to get sew into the ditch. First thing I'm going to do is mark the seam loss on the neckline. On both ends, you should have 1 centimeter seam loss. And the zipper is going to start 2 millimeters below that. Okay. I'm also going to mark the zipper notch. Next thing I'm going to do is to measure the width of the zipper tape. So for this one is 1.3 centimeters. I'm going to mark it from the folded edge of my center back seam, like so. This is where I'm going to align the edge of the tape once putting on the zipper later. Same thing on the other side. Mark 1.3 from the folded edge. Once it's marked, I'm going to pin my zipper on. So I'm going to unzip my zipper all the way down. The plastic stopper should match the line I just marked here. So with 1 centimeter seam loss plus 2 millimeters below that. I pinned my zipper to the back piece of my bodice. So I'm using the line I marked to align the outer edge of the zipper tape. With the zipper head facing out, I'm going to sew one line first on the outer edge to tack the zipper down. Keep matching the line I marked to the outer side of the tape. Before sewing in the ditch, I want to make sure that the center back of the waistline is going to match on each side. So I'm going to put a mark on the zipper with the zipper zipped all the way up. So I know that the center back seam, waist seam lines is here. I'm going to use this mark to match the seam later. Again, I'm just going to sew one line on the edge to tuck the zipper down. Make sure the mark you put there for the waistline is going to match the waistline. Now switch to zipper foot. Going to sew closer to the edge of the teeth to make the zipper looks more invisible. Turn to the other side. Once your zipper on, you should zip it up and check if the waistline is matching each other. And then you're going to iron the zipper flat. After it's ironed, I'm going to open the zipper seam allowance and pull the facing side 1 centimeter over the edge of the center back seam allowance. And I'm going to sew close to the zipper from the waistline seam allowance all the way to the top edge, from here to here. Afterwards, you should have something like this and a gap at the top with the top layer of extra, and you're going to fold it over to the facing side with the zipper on the edge. You can feel it from inside. Zipper on the edge, fold it over and close down the gap on the neckline. Like so. Do the same thing for the other side. Now you have both top closed. We're going to flip it over. After you flip it over, you should have a very clean edge from outside, and inside look like this with more zipper showing. The next step, what we're going to do is to iron the neckline all the way around. After ironing, you should have a very clean neckline. So next step, we're going to open the facing and sew a top stitch line very close to the neckline seam allowance with 2 layers of seam allowance down. You won't be able to get super close to the corner, that's okay. So I'm just going to start from here and goes all the way around of the neckline. After that, with the top stitch, the inside of the neckline should look like this. Have a top stitch all the way around. And then I'm going to serge the armhole together as a flat piece. And also serge the side seam together. After serging, you should have something look like this. Side seam are serged separately with the front and facing together, and then armhole serged together. The last step you want to do is right side to the right side of the bodice. You're going to sew the side seams together and press open. Like so. After ironing, side seam press open, and the outside looks like this. Then you're ready to join the skirt front to the bodice and join the sleeves.